Hello everyone. Today I want to introduce a new policy about waste classification. So I have a question to you that have you wondering where the waste we produce or where, what they finally become? Actually, it is true that most of garbage is just landfill, but there are something interesting. And now I am going to help you follow the pattern of waste clothes, such like waste t-shirt or waste dress. And this pattern is introduced by a magazine called Mana Report, and it's published this year. So as it came into waste recycling factory, the waste clothes will first be artificially tested if there are some components harmful to the machine, like metal buttons or metal tie. And then the thing like the clothes left, is shattered into mm, fibers and small plastic particles, and then all of the metal is recycled to be the base of CD, like building materials, and most of fibers are used to make papers or help burning. So, uh, as for this process, try to think how we can do to save some resource from this process. So there are something that ourselves can do to help save the factory, such like we can just pull off the buttons by ourselves and throw them into a different waste bucket. So this is the new policy I want to introduce, that we should do waste classification by ourselves. So actually, I am not the first people who want to introduce the policy. Similar policies have already been published, and the most well-known two places are State Texas and Chinese Shanghai. The policy stated the community members to separate the family waste into four classes by themselves, and the community is responsible to manage the waste in order to detect the stress on the factories. So actually, the reason I want to introduce the policy is that the old pattern of waste recycling and classification have two disadvantages. The first disadvantage that it is not safety to factory workers. So as introduced by a newspaper called Daily Post, on 2016, there are a worker who lose his fingers, uh, as their right hand two fingers, and this is the only people who get a body injury. Uh, so classification needs a lot of workers. So it is most dangerous, and a lot of workers lose their body parts. And also, different factories have different diseases uh, to the workers that who do not lose their body part. They are always got some disease as for working in the waste classification factory. Like for paper recycling factory is fungus infect, and for most of solid material factory is black. It is black lung, and over 30% of workers get the disease by 3 months as they work in the factories, and when time increases to 2 years, the infection rate goes up to 85%. So we must reduce the work pressure and work time for workers. So the new policy is going to be introduced. Also, the second disadvantage of the old pattern of the waste recycling is that it cannot be completely environmental friendly, because as for the factory also classificate the waste as they gather all the waste up. Some of the waste which should not be landfill is landfilled, and it will be environmentally harmful because this garbage, which should not be landfill, may emit harmful gases like ethanol, or like something cause disease like bacteria or fungus to the surrounding. So as um, an expert called Orleans said in 2016. If the elder policy should be replaced if environmental friendly are going to be introduced. So, which is opposite, the disadvantages can be completely solved by the new policy. We do not need to worry about there are a lot of workers to be injured, and we do not need to worry about worker safety, and we do not need to worry about factories make some mistakes by landfilling some thing that should not be landfilled, and we do not need to worry about ourselves harmed by waste gas or disease or bacteria emitted, and that's the advantage of the new policy. But some people state that the new policy is hard to learn, and a lot of people cannot do waste classification as good as we want them to do. So actually, as introduced on the Chinese post internet, people state that the four types of waste are dry waste, wet waste, recyclables, and harmful waste. So as we introduce, he wants us to learn, if you have a cow, and then it would eat wet garbage, but not dry garbage. Okay, so if it dies by eating harmful garbage, then you can buy a new cow by selling recycling garbage. So I mean that people are always good at learning, and the new policy cannot stop them learning. If everyone can just introduce a new type or a new pattern of learning, just without a lot of difficulties. So there are a lot of barriers on the way to introduce a new policy about waste recycling, but when it is completely right and kind, not even a thing can stop us. Like this is the waste classification. This is the waste classification policy I want to introduce. Thanks.